after getting the endpoint. Can we get a query after getting the endpoints from URL? What does it mean? What does it mean? Getting the query after getting the endpoint from URL. Oh, that. Yeah, there are two ways to do it. I think you learned it. I think you learned it in week 6 already. Let me see. There are two ways to do it. You can either do it manually or you can use a library to do that. So let's see, where is it? Here, week 6. I don't know why I can only see up until week 4. It's driving me nuts. Okay. Oh, there we go. Something like this, but this one is too much. Query. Wow. What the hell? It's not this. I saw a, yeah, for example. Oh no, this one is GraphQL. It's not the query inside the URL. So basically, you may need to use this way to get the query out of the URL string. Okay. Week 6, Monday. Week 6, Monday. Okay. You can read it manually like this. I will show you. Let's say, for example, here, right? Window.location. Okay. So when you do window.location, you will see a whole object like this. And you want to use shut here. Dot shut. It will return the strings, basically everything after the question mark. Yeah. So if you have more, so I'm going to copy this one first. So if you have more, for example, who equal to he, then it return everything after the question mark. So here you may split this string, or you may handle the string by finding or splitting the whole string into arrays or whatever by looking up for the n and then separate them by the equal. I don't know. There's a couple of ways to do it. And that's too much. That's why they decided to go with a library. Yeah. It's not really a library, I think. Oh, it's not a library. There's something called URL subparams, and inside there you can use location.shut, and then you can find the refix. For example, right now the refix will be Q. If you want to find the query for haha, then change this one to haha. Okay. Okay. Okay, the video is converted, but it's not uploading. Please give me a couple of minutes to upload. YouTube. There's a bunch of music here. Let me upload. So where's the, oh my God, it's gone. Okay. Today. Yeah, this one. Okay. Okay, I will finish it later. This one's gonna be Catalina 7.3. No, it's not for kids. Upload it. Next, public, publish. Okay. All right. Back to the code. So now we are almost finished with the front end. Let's switch to the backend side. And in the backend side, so we're gonna create an endpoint to an API for the front end to use, right? So I'm gonna do router.get. It's gonna be a GET request, and that's why we use GET. If you want to create a post request, change this one to post, or put, or delete, or patch, whatever you want. But it has to be put, post, patch, delete, get, only those 5. Okay. So right now, for now, we're gonna use get, and I want to go to weather. All right. Weather, question mark, city, not, sorry. And the first argument will be the endpoint. The second argument will be, as you can see here, is a function, right? But I normally call it a handler. Right? Handler is just a function. So inside the function, you have request, respond, and next. Or you can omit next if you want. It doesn't matter. Right now we don't use text anyway. So we have request and respond. These are the must. And pay attention to the order. Request first, respond later. So you receive a request and then you send out a response, right? So students usually make a mistake and put request, respond here, and then request, which is not correct. Okay. Okay. So now you need to read a request from the front end. So I'm gonna do console log request dot query. For example, right now we're gonna use query. Respond. I'm gonna send JSON. Okay, for now. Okay, I'm gonna send back a message. Say okay. So on the front end side, switch to the front end. So here, right after we receive a city, right, we're gonna send a fetch request. So I'm gonna say cons, or you can say function get data. And here I'm gonna const response equal to await fetch. So in order to use await, you need to give it an async outside. So fetch localhost, sorry, HTTP localhost 5000, and the endpoints will be localhost 5000 weather. Okay, this is the endpoint. Weather. Okay, so that's pretty much okay. Then you can call data equal to await respond.json. Then you can console data, right? And then you can call this function inside the if. I have something. Now I'm gonna test with my browser. Oh my God, what the hell is this? Okay, so check the network tab. It doesn't do anything. Oh, because there's a it's the wrong URL. That's why it doesn't do anything. Okay, I have CT. Okay, it's fire that function, right? Sending a request to the weather. But for some reason, you see the request failed. As you can see, there's a red color here. So here's a tip. This network tab is very useful. You can click on it. You can see the request here, and you can see the response. There's no response because something wrong. It doesn't say anything wrong. Actually, there is. Just say fail. So go to console. I'm gonna reload again. It doesn't say anything weird. But usually I know this error because I'm so used to it already. So normally it's about cost. The first problem will be cost. So like I said yesterday, cost means gross origin sharing resource. Resource sharing means by default your application will block this backend application by default. Oh, maybe I didn't say it. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, there's a it will block any request that is not allowed from an origin that is not allowed. And in order to allow it, we need to import cost here, and then use cost. So like so. So now we need to install cost here. Stop your server, npm install cost. Okay, then run the server again. Okay, reload. Okay, now you see the request successfully arrive, and we see a response, which is okay, right? So let's recap what happened there. I create a function, and that function is gonna call the API, this endpoint, and this endpoint is gonna return a JSON object which have the props data equal to OK, right? And this is how we define an endpoint in the backend side. Right, here we go. Router.get, router.get. Here is a GET request. And the first argument for this method is going to be the URL or the subsequent URL, you can say. So right now we start with the root route, which is this, right? And then we add the weather here. So it will go from top to bottom. This REST app we check from top to bottom. So it will, just like a React app, right? React router. If it meets this condition, it will check, it will execute the function. And this function, you have by default, you have a request object, response object, and next object. We will talk about this tomorrow, more about this tomorrow, but for now, we will use only request and response. And the request object is whatever incoming, right? So example, you may have the requested query, you may have requested body, you will have request dot, whatever you want. You can just console request here. And I will try again. So here's the request object. There's a bunch of things inside. Okay, don't worry about those. And then you will also have a response object, and response object have this method to send the data to the front end. It could be a render, it could be JSON, it could be just a text like send. And here I send in an object data OK to my front end. So that in my front end, when you click on respond tab here, you see whatever the backend will return, right? So that's pretty much it. Also, there will you see the cost problem a lot in the future. So if the server, the backend server doesn't allow a certain cause to use cause to protect the backend resource from a certain origin. Origin here you can understand it as a domain, can apply domain, right? And for now, earlier I didn't allow the any origin, so I didn't apply the cause. So that's why it's by default it's blocked all the requests. And that's why we need to install cause, use it, and then just use it like so. So this means here it will allow all requests from, not really all requests from all origin. Right. If you just want to allow a certain origin or allow a certain domain, you can go and read on the documents on the cause, on how to use cause. But for the tricky symbol, this one is fine. Okay. Can you see? There's nothing in there. Okay, are we done with this? So, how do I open the chat again? Okay, here's my favorite tool. Yes. This is my favorite tool. No, no. Was it too fast? Five over two. We have 12 people here. Can I see on the front end? You want to see this, right? So we define a function and call it. We are not going to use CD anyway, so we will use it later. Okay. So what's the question? See, two people. Is that done? Do anyone say? Okay, no one here. The city is dark. Yeah, it's dark. It's getting dark now. Okay. I wonder, like on line 47. Yeah, because we are not using it. That's why it's declared. As you can see here, it's declared but not used. It's never read. That's fine. We're gonna use it now. So you're gonna use a query, or you can use a param if you want. Whatever you want. You can use it as a param, or you can use it as a query. So which one do you want to use? Normally people will use a query like this. City equal city here. Okay. So we use city here, parse it in the URL string, and then send it to the backend side. Okay. So now if I reload my page, as you can see here, there's a inside the URL string, we have a city equal to Seoul. And if you open the terminal on your backend side, change this one to query. Okay, change to query, save, run again, check. Okay, on the backend side, you actually receive an object and very similar to the front end, right? So backend receive an object, which is where you call query. Inside the query, you have city with a value Seoul. So now based on this value, you can do a couple of things. So we need to check if, so that's fine. We can assign the city to a variable, just like on the front end, city request.query. Okay. If there is no city, we're gonna return response.status 400.json error city query is required, right? Okay, what does it mean? If the front end send a GET request to this endpoint without providing any city, then we will tell the front end, okay, this is a bad request. Okay, 400 means bad request. Okay, if you don't send me a city name, this means it's a bad request, and I'm going to send you an error. Yeah, right. So on the backend side, on the front end side, sorry, on the front end side, here, if you don't provide city here, let's cut it. Okay. Check the browser. You see a GET request, right? It's not really, sorry. What? Oh. Okay. You see, it's a bad request, 400. This number is defined by outside the 400 here. Okay. And when you click on it, you will see the response with an error, city query is required. So now on the front end side, we can check. Yeah. If response.ok okay. If not okay, we're gonna throw new error. And this error gonna be data dot response dot error. Okay. And then we have try and catch. Try. So this is on front end. We have try, and then here we have catch error. And then here I'm going to console log the error. If everything is fine, I'm going to console the data. Okay. Okay, let's try again. Refresh the page, check the console. You see the console log error, city is required, right? Cool. On line 57 here. So you have try and catch to handle the errors. So this is not really a system error. It's kind of like, it's not a network error. It's an error that the backend return, right? The request successful. The requests were successful. It reached the server, and the server actually responds something, but the server respond with an error. 400. 400 usually mean bad thing happen. Everything that start with 4 means bad thing. Okay, if you want to read more on that, you have HTTP status status code. So here's a list of all the code. So everything start with 2 will mean success, right? 3 will be the redirect, and 4 means client error. For example, client doesn't provide the city name, for example. And 5 means server errors. Okay. So you can refer to this doc to design whichever the standard code that you want to return. Okay. Clear? Is it clear? I'm gonna send the poll again. When Zoom stopping me from sending poll. So I'm gonna ask any questions. Hey, I expect to see questions. Can I see app on the front end? Sure. And let me think. Okay. So now, I need to change back to question mark city equal to the city, right? Oh, only one person have a question. Everyone else is good and thinking. Fine. Okay, fine. Just try and catch. Throw the error in a try and catch block will stop the subsequent logic statement. So when you throw an error in a try block, it will automatically catch by this catch block. Yeah, it will stop executing the rest of the code. Okay, go back to the backend side. You can have option not good, but don't have. Okay. There's a lot of syntax going on here. So we're gonna build a very simple app. We only have one endpoint. In the optional user story, you will have another endpoint, and that will be done by yourself. It's even simpler than comparing to this. Don't worry. So what if we have, so here's this case, we don't have a city, we return a response with error, right? So what if we have the city? What do we do next? So here's in the application blending, if, okay. So we're gonna use the city name, and then we use mapbox in order to get the coordinates. And after we got the coordinates, we're gonna use the coordinates to fetch the weather. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but normally you will have to call APIs in a chain like that. And there are a couple of ways to do it. You can use a callback to use it, or you can use asynchronous task to do that. It's much easier to read. Okay. So you will use these two APIs. So I'm gonna copy and paste them down here. One. Oops. Okay. Second. Right, we're gonna use the Mapbox API in order to get the geolocation. Yeah, so first thing first, use Mapbox to get coordinates from city or place, right? String. and then we will use coordinates to use the open weather API to get weather forecast from the coordinates, right? Okay, we need to do these two steps here. So let's first go get the coordinates from the city name. So the point is we need to call this API. And to call an API in Node.js, a long time ago, people use request package. But for now, request package is kind of like outdated, and it's not recommended to use anymore. It's gonna be die soon. So and there's a recommendation on use Axios, right? Because Axios support asynchronous tasks and it's run a little bit faster and lightweight. So we're gonna install Axios. Okay. So in the guide here, I actually mentioned about it, right? npm install Axios to call API. So install it and then import it. Axios equal to require Axios. Okay, so here we are gonna make a function just like this on the front end side. Just like this on the front end side to get coordinate API to get the coordinates based on the city, right? So I'm gonna create a function right there. Function get coordinates. Okay. So to get a coordinate, we need a city name or place name, right? And so Axios is actually easier to use than fetch. You cannot use fetch here. Cannot use fetch here in Node. Fetch is an object of the browser. Sadly, it's an object, a verbal object of the browser, not the server. So we cannot use fetch. That's why we need to use request or Axios. There's another tools out there, but let's go with Axios. Axios is very easy to use. So I'm going to do const respond equal to awaits Axios dot get. It's very similar to fetch here. So I'm gonna get this endpoint. Okay. All right. So in here we have lat and long and the API key. Okay, it's in the HMD. If you want to go and look at it, it's all written in there. Paste it here looks so ugly. Okay, you can find another API to work with. So here you need the oh my god, I got the wrong URL. This one is more correct. We're trying to get the coordinates, right? Not the weather. Okay, so here we go. There's a special thing here and called URI component. Basically, this function just to protect the URL. Okay, protect URL against some attack. Right. So for example, if the attackers input a string that have some special character like this, remember be careful with the I don't know how, the quotation here, the single quotation here. It could destroy your database somehow. It's called SQL injection. That happened a lot in the past. So that's why they have a library that just to parse these special string into something like this, right? For a space or percentage, something like that. don't worry too much about this. It's not in the scope of this course. So just put it there and change this one to city. Sorry, it has to be the city, right? And the token will be whatever you get from the documentation. So here we go. Go to Mapbox website. So I expect you guys to register an account during the break already. So after you register an account, go to the account section. And if you don't have the token yet, just create a new one. So I already have that token 7 months ago. So I'm going to copy that. And you can define the token in here equal to that right here and then use it. But how do we say? I don't want this token to be exposed on GitHub. So I will use a global variable. So I'm going to box equal to that string. Also, I will need the open weather token as well. And so for open weather, I also have this one. Okay, so you should do it. Just follow this. You don't want to have these token inside your code. It's very hard to change, right? That's why we use a environment variable. So that's why when you deploy to Netlify or if you deploy to Heroku, it's easier, much easier to change without changing your code. I will show you how to deploy later. So basically, right now, put it in define these keys in the env, and then you can install. If you have not, you can install this library.env on the backend side, and then use it. Require .env. You use the basic, the default config, right? And that's it. So now you can call this token by, just leave the token here, and I'm going to do call token equal to process. Very similar to on front end box. Okay. Right, almost there. I need to return something here so that you can see, or I can console log it. Console log this one. Okay, that's it. All right, here we go. And I'm going to call this function here. Pass in the city. All right, that's it. Let me run the app and see. And then we'll expand everything again. Oh my God, something wrong. Away is only available inside asins. Okay, on line 11 here. Okay, everything is working. So I'm going to reload my front end so that I can send show to my backend side. Okay, so on the backend side, you will see a console log which show an error. 401, maybe the token, oh, sorry guys, wrong name. Again. Okay, so here the response from the API, right? All right, that's pretty long. The problem with this is like you need to use a lot of libraries and you need to install or know when to use it, right? So here we go from top to bottom again. We were here, right? Before we start this session, we were here. So our next job is like to use this Mapbox API to get the coordinates based on the city name or any place name. And to call, so then after that, we will use the coordinates to get the weather information, right? One. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about this function first. So to get the coordinates from the API, we need to call the API, right? So I want to separate the task. So this function will do what it does is just call the API and then return the data. That's it. So that's why I make an a separate function. And we cannot use fetch like we use it on React side here, because fetch here only exists in the browser, right? On the server side, there's no fetch at all, because if you console log fetch here, if you crash, fetch is not defined, right? So you cannot use fetch. So there will be alternatives out there. There will be request, there will be a source, there will be one more thing I forgot. But request, originally we use request, sorry. Request here. But request is outdated. I will show you npm.js.com. Request. It's not even here anymore. Node.js request module. So here we go. So this package is deprecated when 6 months ago, and it was in February. So the author recommend us not to use it anymore. So instead of that, we can switch to a source, which is easier to use. Request here doesn't support asynchronous, right? There's no await or async at all. It's going to be a bunch of yeah, it doesn't support async or await. It's only have promises and callback. Right? And it's very heavy. This package is very heavy. So we don't use it. We use ASOS. To use ASOS, obviously you need to install it, right? And then import it. And the way we use it very similar to fetch. So this is the URL. We need to provide the city name, okay? And the token, the asset token, which we got from the documentation page. And you can hardcode the token in here, that's fine. But after this lab, you may push the code to GitHub, right? And when you push the code to GitHub, everything inside the code will be exposed. And you don't want your token to be exposed. You want to hide it. And to hide it, you don't put it in the code, right? So you can use an environment here, environment variable here. And as we did earlier, I put this file inside Git node so that we don't push it to GitHub. Okay. And I define the name for these keys as mapbox underscore token, open weather underscore token. Okay. And to read a variable from environment, we need to use this library .env. Then you can go and install npm install.env, hit enter, and here's the basic usage. Just require .env.config. It will automatically go and find the .env here for you, right? Yeah, sure. And yeah, so we input this. We use this live code to read on the variable from env. Right. You need to, every time you you change something your env, you need to restart your server just like in React. Right. And so here's how you read a variable from the env process.env and the name of the key. In React, you have to do something like this: process.env.react app something, right? But here you don't need to React app. Just the name of the key is fine. Okay. That's it. And then this function is gonna get this API, call this API and return the data. So what's the data look like if you open your terminal? Here's the data. Okay, it's an object. Inside the object, you have 3 keys: type, query, and filters. Oh, you have one more attribution. Okay, so the data that you want is inside the filters array. So the API return a lot of results, not just one, a bunch of them. And usually the first element will be the best match, right? The first element will be the best match. So here we have Seoul, Korea, right? If the API cannot find any location with that name, it will return an empty array for filter, an empty array, right? An empty array. So I will do something like this. So I will enhance my code a little bit. So so inside that you have request data, right? It's a data here is request respond data is required. It is defined by a source, right? It's defined by a source, so it will be the body of the request of response. Sorry. So if we want to handle the case that if there's no results at all for the city, which means this one will be an empty array. So we can check it like this: if we can use try and cat here. Try cat, just like on the front end. Okay, try and cat. Then we put all the things here in try. And if we not the data dot filters length is not 0. We also need to check if there's a length is not 0. If it's not 0, then we return the first element, right? The best match. Sorry, return this one, the data dot filters, the first element. Right, else we return no. Here as well. If anything wrong, we return no. Okay. Sometimes you also want to construct the error as well. So what I did here is that I will check if there's any match inside the filter array. If yes, I return that the first element, because the first element is going to be the best match. And if there's none results, which means the length of the array will be equal to 0, right? So you can check it like this, greater than 0. Same thing. So if there's no result, we will return no. And here as well, is if there's any error during the fetch, you also return an error no. And inside your controller here, you can assign the results to a variable called coordinates equal to a weight, something like that, right? So here you return the first element is not always good. The first element you have ID, type, name, all the stuff. You also have geometry as well. We will look at geometry later because an object it's so deep. The nested object is so deep, it cannot show all just like on your browser. So that's why it show array and object right here. So now we assign the results to this variable. So now you can construct it. Okay. Before you construct it, you need to like if there is coordinates, then we do something. If there's no coordinate, which means what does it mean? It means that we can respond with an error. Say cannot find any place with that name, for example, right? So if there's coordinate, we construct a coordinate for now. Someone chat with me here. Someone asked some question on Discord. Okay, right. Do you want to see the results? So I'm gonna refresh. Fail to fetch. What? Something wrong on the backend side then. Okay. Oh, again, await is only valid inside async, so you need to use async here. Again, you see okay, and here you see the construct of the best match. Right. So this is the best match. Inside the best match, you have geometry. Inside geometry is an object, right? Inside that you have a graph called coordinates, and coordinates is a whole array, right? So this is all about reading documentation. So I'll walk you through how to find out the documentation. So here you take a look at the documentation. And here, the search API. There's a lot, yeah, there. Well, sorry, it's too fast. The documentation, let me show you here first. It takes a while to read these. Okay, here the response. So here's the response that looks like, how it looks like. So it will, you have filters. Inside the filter will be an array of objects. So inside that you have a geometry and the coordinates. So there's a documentation here saying what you're gonna get. Filters is an array of filter object, right? Each object you will have these props, and the coordinates that we want is actually inside the geometry. Here, geometry dot coordinates. Inside that is an array in the format of longitude and latitude. So I'm going to copy this and note for myself. So it's going to be longitude and latitude. Okay, hello Tuấn. Hello. No. Yeah, I know it's fast. This is okay. Again, so which part do you get right now? Can you follow right now? We're almost done. Just one more function. Okay, this part we're done, right? You understand this part? You can understand this? Check yes or no. The part that I highlight here. Okay. This the part I highlight here. Okay. So basically this part is just calling an API and look at the response object, right? And then look at the filters, props. Filter props is an array. If there's any results that match the query city here, it will be inside this array. If this array is empty or the length is 0, if the length is 0, which means there's no match, right? If there's no match, we return null. Or if there's any error during the fetch, we return null. The reason why we return a null value here is that so that down here we can check if coordinates is null, then we will return an error to the user, to the front end, saying it could be either we cannot find any place with that name or something wrong during the fetch on the server side, right? So that's why we return null 2 times here and here. And then if we can find any results, then we return the best match. Best match first element. Okay. So that's the whole purpose of this function. All right, so that's it here. That's why I have a condition check here. And then finally I console log it. Just console log it, nothing else. All right. Okay. Again. Yes. Okay. The problem is you don't have time to try and console log it by yourself, right? So I'm gonna leave you guys 10-minute break to play around with the response here, right? To play around with the response here. Okay. Actually, it's response data because this the props is predefined by ASOS. Wait, I didn't even turn the front end. So right now I just send a request with Hanoi on the front end. Where did you put the link to get API from OpenWeather? Here at the top. Yeah. So there will be 2 APIs here. Where I mean in the project. So right now we only use one API, which is to get the coordinates on the backend side. We define the function just above here, and then call it down here. So here calls coordinates dot geometry dot coordinates will be an array of longitude and latitude. Okay. Cool. Again. So I think this part you can do it on your own here if you want. Actually, we're gonna use this value, right? We're gonna use this value to get the API, to get the weather forecast from this API, the OpenWeather API. So let's define another function which is very similar to this one. So async function get weather, and here I'm gonna call an array. Inside the array we have longitude first and latitude later. Long and then lat and lat. Okay. And here I will copy this. I'm gonna const response equal await fetch. Oh no more fetch a source. Sorry. Get string, and that's it. Okay, here. So here we have 3 arguments: longitude and latitude. Pass them into here because I'm gonna pass in an array of longitude and latitude. That's why I destructurate longitude and latitude. Or to make it clear, I can do it like this: coordinates. So I'm gonna do coordinate. So I think this way is even more confused. You want it to be like this? It's even more confused. So it's more straightforward. So the first element will be the longitude. The second element will be the latitude. Yeah, this one, I think this one is better. Okay, so now you can try to return response.data. So we're gonna return the whole object, or you can use try and catch as well. Wait, hang on, let me finish this one first. Catch error, return no, just like before. Right, so what's the problem? Receive weather as a city, so the found error not working. Receive weather as a city. What does it mean? Can you copy and paste the object? Console log query requested query. Can you construct this and copy the results? So here I have the function get weather, right? Very similar to the get coordinates. It's even simpler. But oh, you don't have the token yet. So I'm going to const token equal to process dot env dot open weather token, right? So it's the name of the key that you define here. How come it's like that? On your front end, did you send it like this? What? So what's the URL when you try to open your browser? Was it like this? Right? Yeah, change to so that you can copy this link and share to your friends, right? It makes more sense. Okay, so on the backend part, I'm going to call the function here, cause a result equal await, and you're going to pass in the coordinates, this part, the whole array, the array of coordinates, not the object. So I think I need to change the name here. It makes you guys confused. Okay, now you can consult results. If results, if not results, you will do the same thing here. Cannot find any weather forecast. At your place. Right. Else, we're gonna return the results to the front end. So that's done. That's straight from here for the backend side. Now you can open your browser and test. So I'm gonna send this the city Seoul as a query to my backend side. Okay, cannot find any weather forecast at your place. So it failed for some reason. Invalid API keys. Right, wrong key. So here's my key. It say wrong key. That's weird. So the key is correct, right? 556. For some reason it's get blocked. I don't know. Check it. So my weather. Let's use another key. I'm going to use this one. Stop the server. Change the value. Save. Start the server again. And let me test this one more time. Okay. Again, maybe something wrong. Invalid API key, not again. Okay, let me answer Tuấn first. Can you see the get weather function again, please? Yes. Get weather function. Here. Row open weather map. I think something wrong with the browse here. Do you even need browse? That's weird. I just did it last night. Unauthorized. So this response unauthorized. The token is wrong. Yeah, but it's wrong. Let me get to another one. This one. Okay. And I'm gonna paste it here instead of using that. Okay. Again. No, all the keys wrong. What happened? Let's remove the rows. Same thing. I think something wrong with my key. Actually, I didn't change any variable. I had called it earlier. Okay. I think something wrong with my keys. Let me see. Copy this. Let's create a new one. Testing. Generate. Okay. Here we go. So I'm gonna put my key here for now. Okay, and then test it again. Same thing. Weird. It works yesterday. Maybe the API is wrong. I think I updated the documentation here last night before I went to sleep. Not this. Oh, API dot open weather map. Oh my god, this one is more correct. Okay, I'm gonna use this one. Sorry, guys. Paste here. Change this one to token. Okay, long and large the same. All right, try again. There we go. Ah, no. Wait, what? Hang on, hang on, hang on. Invalid API key. Let me see another key. Why is it happening? Refresh. Yeah, I received a response. I don't know why the key that didn't work. Here is the response from the API server, and our backend server respond to the front end. Here we go. And based on these data that we want to render on the front end side. Okay. So what if you take a look at the object here, there's no place, there's nowhere that telling you the name of the place, right? It's all about the weather information. There's no name of the place. So you can fix that by adding one more key. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Copy that. Change this one to process.env.open weather. Save. Okay. I mean, when I call it, yeah. So coordinates here is just an object of a bunch of keys. So why do I have a request here? Where is this coming from? Oh, I need this. Why do I have this? Anyway, okay. So here's the coordinates here. It's not an array, it's actually an object, and that object has geometry keys. Inside the keys, we have another keys, coordinates. And this coordinates is an array of 2 elements. The first one is the longitude, second one is the latitude, right? And then we will use array as a props here. And this function, we use longitude and latitude to get the weather. Then return the data. If for some reason we cannot fetch the weather, we will return no. And if it's no, we return an error, cannot fetch any weather at your place. If it's not no, then we return the data to the front end. Okay. So on the front end side, we can select the data after we get it, right? And the rest should be done by rendering here. So now you need to set state it. Okay, const weather set weather equal to use state. By default, it's going to be no. And then here you're going to set state it. Set weather. Yeah, that's it. And then you render it. Oh. Okay. Which part do you want me to go over? Which part do you want me to go over? Since I call the, so I think you understand the logic inside get weather, right? So what happened in get weather is like we receive an array of longitude and latitude, then we use the two values to get the response. That's it. And here, how do we get the array of longitude and latitude? So basically, inside the object here, this object, inside the object, it's nested very deeply inside. It's nested very deeply. If you want to see how it looks, so here's how it looks in their documentation. If you scroll up a little bit, so here's the response. So here's the response. Okay. So you have a key called feature. Feature is an array. There's a bunch of objects. So you want to look at the first one. Inside the first object, you have another key called geometry. And inside that, you want to look at the coordinates only. You don't care about the type. Okay. So, and sometimes you will be confused. You don't know which one is the longitude, which one is the latitude. So here's inside the doc. Is explained here. Geometry dot coordinates in this format, longitude first and then latitude. Okay, so that's why I have that format here, longitude and then latitude, then pass it to the string here. Okay, that's a lot, even though we only have one endpoint, but that's a lot. Right. So after we got the response, the results from get weather, we return to the front end. Okay, here's to check, just to check if we actually receive results. Okay. Which one return to front end? So here we have on line 44, it returned an error if it matched the condition, right? Else we will keep doing the rest of the code. Then we check again. So on line 50, we check again. If there's no coordinates, we will respond again to the front end. But if there's coordinate, it will skip this slide, right? So it check again. If there's results, it will skip this. If there's no result, it will return an error as well. Okay, and lastly, at the end of this function, it return a response. This response will be 200 something, 200. Okay. Okay. If you don't mention it, it's going to be 200 by default. Mm-hmm. Oh, we pay attention to how could it pass through the front end. You send a JSON object, a JSON data to the front end here, right? And results, a result here. You send result to the front end. Oh, sorry. Here you need to dot data. Okay. And you will need to return here, but it's not necessary. It's the end of the file already. The end of the function already. So you need to return. There's a lot going on, guys. Don't worry, this is just the first day of Express. You get confused a lot, I know, because there's a lot of boilerplate here. What I have is router. We will talk about this later. Next, maybe tomorrow or on Monday or Tuesday. We'll spend more about it. There's more about router. What we use today is Express and ASOS, right? And .env as well. Of course, a little bit of course, just import and use. That's very simple. We also use .env in order to read the environment variable using this syntax. Okay. So I think I need to get rid of these command. Okay, app.js on the front end. So here we go. So data is the request body, response body. And inside the response body, there is an object. Inside the object, we have another key called data, right? Here we go. Here we go. This is how it looks like in JSON. Okay. That's why I dot data. Okay. That is 430. Okay, which part do you want me to go over again?
Sorry, where did you get the incoming results? Can you show me, please?
The incoming results here.
Yeah, I mean in the browser you go to some option and you this one.
Okay, here we go. Open the console. Go to network tab instead of console. Go to network.
Yeah.
And right now you don't see anything because it's only load when you open it, right? So now you need to refresh the page. There we go. Right, status 200. You click on it. Go to, basically you will see the headers, and you want to see the response. So click on the tab response here.
I see anything but the response. I don't see anything in the response. Why so weird?
Make sure you see the status 200 here.
Let me see.
I think something failed, right?
It's pending. It's pending. It's still pending.
Okay. Pending means something failed on your server side. So lastly, you want to do this. You want to use try and catch again. Oh my God. Don't worry about try and catch. In the future, we will learn how to make it shorter, or like lot shorter. So put everything inside the try block, right? And then in the catch block, very similar to how we did it, we return respond JSON status 500, and then JSON error will be the error message. So this way, your application won't be frozen when there's an error. Okay, try this and refresh your browser. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, correct.
So sorry, try what? I'm sorry. I was putting it into the try cast and then I missed it. What should I put inside the try cast, please? That one?
You put all the code
Yeah, I put already
inside the try block, and inside inside the catch block, just this line. Can and refresh the browser to see the error. Without this try and catch, the request will take like about 1 minute almost. So you see pending for a while. Okay. Okay, do you see any response?
I got a status 500.
Yeah. So what's the error message?
The error message it's How do you know where is the error message?
Just
Is it
inside response.
in the console log or it's
Inside
in response, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, how can we? Yeah, I get it. The longitude or something. It's notified. It's notified.
Longitude is not defined.
Yeah, maybe
Make sure you use the correct name here.
Yeah. I check that. Yeah, I use that name.
LNG.
Yeah, LNG.
And
yeah.
which one is notified? Longitude or LNG is notified? What is
longitude.
it?
Longitude.
The whole string longitude.
The is to be exactly LNG is notified.
LNG is notified. So the only place that we use LNG is when we name it here and when we call it.
Yeah.
So that's the only two places. Make sure you use a correct name. Or when you pass it, you need to make sure this one is an array of longitude and latitude. Can you console it? Right, console it right here.
Okay.
And refresh your browser. Is it an array? Could be undefined. Or no?
It's a yeah. Cannot read the property error of undefined at get data.
What?
At get data. Yeah.
At get data?
Yeah, it's weird. It's on the weather-based functions. I don't know why. I don't know why.
This? You mean this?
No, it's so on this. It's all on errors on the get data function when we type down the city stuff. I don't know. It's so weird.
Okay. I will fix it using. Can you let set screen? I need to stop recording. I need to stop recording. Any other questions before I stop sharing the screens? Okay, I will let you guys playing around with that. If you have questions, please ask. So I'm gonna stop sharing. So stop recording first.